Hello, acupuncturist friends from all over the blue planet. Welcome back to our podcast, Tung Talk, your gateway into the extraordinary world of Master Tung's acupuncture. In this podcast, I'm joined by Shaun Goodman, a seasoned practitioner and dedicated teacher of Master Tung's methods. Along with Shaun, I am Moshe Becker, also a practitioner and teacher passionate about Master Tung's acupuncture method. Together, we bring years of hands-on experience in this remarkable approach. We will focus on the original Taiwanese style, a methodology that remains largely unexplored in the West. Through this podcast, we'll unravel the lesser-known aspects of Master Tung's legacy, sharing clinical pearls that have transformed our practice. We'll focus on practical applications that you can integrate into your clinic as soon as tomorrow morning. Whether you're an experienced practitioner or newly curious about Master Tung's acupuncture, join us as we pull back the curtain on one of Chinese medicine's most fascinating and effective approaches. Hey, Shaun, what's up?
Hi, Moshe. Nice to be here again.
Nice to see you too. So today we're going to talk about a letter that actually changed how I see Master Tung's acupuncture. This letter was mailed from Yuan Guo Ben to Chuanmin Wang, which were disciples of Master Tung. And Yuan Guo Ben actually was the one who edited the only book that Master Tung published. And so he was quite a senior disciple. And I think he was with Master Tung about 10 years, which is quite a lot. And Chuanmin Wang was also a disciple, but he was only about 10 months. So he wasn't that long with Master Tung. And Yuan Guo Ben got some more information from Master Tung. And if you say some more secrets. And that's actually really, really interesting because in that letter, 4 years after they met, Yuan Guo Ben states the following. One day, Master Tung told me the principle of acupuncture treatment in his private office. For any severe or chronic condition, it is necessary to stick the major points in the pathological, means root cause, firstly. And then he lists the root causes, or the dharmas that treat those root causes. And he mentioned and he lists the dharmas on the thigh and the shin, the major dharmas on the thigh and the shin. So for the heart, the 3 open heaven group, 8801 till 8803. For the liver, the upper 3 yellow group, 88.12 till 88.14. For the spleen, the 3 layers group, 77.05 till 77.07. For the lung, 4 horses group, 88.17 till 88.19. And for the kidney, he actually mentions 2 dharmas. The first is a point, kidney gate, Shen 1, 77.18. And the lower 3 emperors, 77.17, 19, and 21. I know that some of you in the West, you use 77.18 instead of 17, but in this letter, we see that Master Tung used 77.17. That's interesting. And then after treating the root cause, Yuan says that then according to the findings, add additional points, symptomatic points. So essentially, we have here a treatment which is a 5 Zang root treatment, a 5-phase root treatment. This is the first step. And then the symptomatic treatment. And this is the place we want to start our conversation, Shaun. So we see that there is some order, there is some structure to Master Tung's treatment, which relates to the root cause and the symptomatic treatment. Let's elaborate on that. What are your thoughts about this letter?
Yeah, also when I first saw that letter, and I think it was 2013, it changed the way I was thinking about Master Tung's acupuncture, because until then, I used to try and understand Master Tung acupuncture through the 14 channels. But then I started to realize that there is maybe a different approach. And this is what our podcast is about, mostly. It's the 5 Zang approach to Master Tung's acupuncture.
And all the episodes we had at the beginning actually were describing what I've just read.
Yeah, so it's from that we must try to understand how do we find out what is the root of the condition.
Am I hearing the word diagnosis here?
Yeah, I think that's that's the most important point in medicine, to first diagnose.
So we're doing a bit of a reverse engineering. So we need to know which is the root treatment, which is the phase which is most weak or most unbalanced. And to do that, we need to diagnose. That's why diagnosis here is so very important, and not just to go and directly puncture points. We do need to understand what is the main root cause problem, or might be few phases which are harmed. And that's why we so very much need a good diagnosis. So what are your favorite diagnoses, Shaun?
Before that, there's like a question that we should ask ourselves is, are we talking about the phase that is weak the whole of the patient's life? Or is it weak just in that moment in time? Okay, so we like in the West, we have like a 5-element school where they try and diagnose the element that you are, the weakness, which element is weak in you, that you were born that way, and it's going to be weak all your life. But I think in Master Tung's acupuncture, it's in that moment in time. It doesn't mean, I think personally, it doesn't mean that it's going to be in another month, maybe you'll find the same findings. It could change.
Intriguing. So we are not just going to the basic deficiency that the person was born with. In Japanese medicine, they do like to see the inherent basic DNA of the patient. So you say that we want to see the deficiency or the imbalance, which is more current.
Yeah, I also see this from my experience as a practitioner, because I have patients that I've seen 3 years ago, and then maybe I see them today. And I have people that I've seen them over years, and I could see that things are changing, and the root is changing also. So when I look at the palm, so I think that it's something that could change. It's not all the time the same. Okay, it's more looking at the state of the qi of blood in that patient. It's not something that's changing all the time, and even the treatment could change the condition. So keep in mind that I think, at least in my perspective and my clinical practice, it's something that it could change from even treatment to treatment.
Yeah, Shaun, this is very, very interesting that you go for the current situation and you less look at the history. So
I just want to say there are situations that I have a patient that I know for maybe 20 years. And even before I diagnosed, used Master Tung's acupuncture. And the first time I met her was spleen. There was a spleen deficiency. And today I still diagnose as spleen deficiency as a root. So I'm not saying that the root could stay the same all the time, but it also could also change. Okay, there's both of the possibilities.
So the root might not be fixed, but many times does stay the same, because many of us, we do change, but we still have our deficiencies. We still have our weak points, our soft spots that tend to stay the same. But we should always diagnose, and we should not take for granted that people don't change, because they might do. And they might be different than what we've encountered them a few years ago, or just even a week, because we don't know what they've been through that in this week. So what are your main diagnosis tools?
At the beginning, I used to use the pulse to do my 5-Zang diagnosis, because I didn't know how to use the palm or the face so well. Because we know Master Tung use a palm diagnosis and face diagnosis, and also pulse diagnosis. So I used mainly the pulse, but after today, I use mainly the palm. That's my main way to diagnose the root.
I've seen in Yuan Wang's book that he states that more than 90% of Master Tung's diagnosis was done through the palm. So this was Master Tung's main diagnostic tool, and I see that that's your favorite one as well. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on the palm diagnosis? I think we'll have a whole episode in the future regarding palm diagnosis.
Yeah, I think it's not easy to study palm diagnosis. You need to look at a lot of palms to start seeing something that has significance for you. I think, look, if you had somebody sitting, or you in a clinic with somebody that knows palm diagnosis. And there's not a lot of people that know that. Even when we went to study with Dr. Lee Gurgen, that he's a student of Dr. Hu, and I think his map is the most famous map published on Master Tung's Acupuncture. It's the map that is published in James Meyer's book. And I asked him, he told us that he does not use palm diagnosis. Okay, he used to use abdominal diagnosis, and he even taught us the way he used abdominal diagnosis when he used Master Tung acupuncture. You need to be next to somebody that knows how to do palm diagnosis, and then seeing what he's diagnosing and showing you, because the changes on the pulse are very subtle. And
On the hand, the vision.
On the hand, you look for like changes in color, veins, depressions, elevations, but it's hard to know what is significant because you see so many things sometimes. So it's something you need to master.
For me, the dark spots are the easiest ones to correlate to the diagnosis. You don't see them in every patient, or even not in every other patient, but when you do see them, in my opinion, or in my experience, that they're the best. Are like the easiest ones to really correlate and to see results afterwards.
The darkest color or veins?
Dark spots, specifically dark spots. Not veins, actually. The dark spots for me are the easiest diagnostic measure in palm diagnosis. Yeah, of course, that I'm looking for, the change of color and little venules and all that. But when I see dark spots, I'm happy. I'm like, oh, that's a relatively easy diagnosis, palm diagnosis.
Yeah, I could tell you how I started to get more information from the palm. I was looking for that master to help me. So then I said to myself, I saw there was a lot of things that are the same between palm diagnosis and auricular medicine. They both are like have a representation of the whole body. And in both techniques, we are looking at blood vessels changing in color. And in both techniques, there's also points, and there's also the points also use us to diagnose the same thing. So they have something very interesting there. Besides looking at change in color and change in blood vessels, they also use what you call a signal. It's called the VAS, the vascular autonomic signal. So when the areas are active, there is a change in pulse when you bring information to the field of the point. It could be a laser. It could be even a battery, all kind of things. So I decided to use. I learned how to diagnose with the VAS, and I tried to use it to search the palm. And to my surprise, I started to feel the reaction in certain areas. And after feeling the reaction, I used to look to see if I could see any changes in color or blood vessels. And I started to see things that I did not see before. And this technique helped me to be more accurate to what you're looking for. And I started to see that there are very subtle changes that were there all the time, but I was not aware of them. So for me, that I didn't have the opportunity to be beside a master that masters palm diagnosis. And my master was the VAS, who was the body of the patient, telling me if something is significant or not. Maybe later in these podcasts, I'll talk more about this technique. That's very interesting.
Okay, that is very, very interesting. Your revelation, the connection between the VAS and the diagnosis, and from previous talks we've had, also for the treatment, not just the diagnosis.
Yes, I also use this technique to understand what points to needle.
Chapeau, my friend. Very, very nice. I'll say that my main diagnostic tool is actually abdominal diagnosis from Japanese medicine, the most basic Nanjing chapter 16 and 56. Kiko Matsumoto elaborated on that. So I cross-reference that into Master Tung's acupuncture. I have to be honest, I don't see 100% correlation between the palm diagnosis and the abdominal diagnosis. I have my question marks. I have my thoughts about it. It's not one-on-one, but I do like to see that if I puncture the correct points, then the reflexes disappear. I hope I'm getting it right. I'm not sure. There's no one to guide me if this cross-reference is precise or not, but for me, it kind of works and I like it. You mentioned earlier on the face diagnosis?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about face diagnosis.
Yeah, me neither. I've seen a bit in Chuan Ming Wang's book we've mentioned, Introduction to Master Tung's Acupuncture. So I've seen a map, but yeah.
I just wanted to mention something very interesting about you saying that you use the abdomen diagnosis. I think that it doesn't matter where you diagnose it, because the way I see Master Tung acupuncture is that there's something wrong with the five Zang, okay, in the Chinese perspective. So this imbalance of the five Zang is now being reflected outside towards the extremities of the body or the surface of the body in different places. So you could find this imbalance in a lot of areas, not only in one area. The palm is very, very useful because you don't need to abdomen diagnose. You need to take the clothes off. And Master Tung, I don't know how he's to treat, but I saw a lot of clinics in Taiwan. They are sitting down. So the palm is very easy to use.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to use the palm, but you should use whatever tool you have to try to understand which of the five Zang is imbalanced. And you even see a coloration between needling the points and the reflex that is disappearing. So that is also something that's showing you that you have changed something with your diagnosis, and there is a relationship to the points.
Tongue diagnosis is actually very, very prevalent in the West. Did you or do you use tongue diagnosis?
No, I don't use tongue diagnosis at all.
Neither do I. Interesting. Any last thoughts regarding diagnosis in general?
I have one other thought about Master Tung's diagnosis. At the beginning, when I wanted to study palm diagnosis, I went to all kind of books about palm diagnosis in Chinese medicine. And I saw that they had a different approach to palm diagnosis. They were looking more at the lines that are on the palm. And in Master Tung acupuncture, what I know about, we are not looking about the lines. We are looking about color changes. And so I think in the classical approach, when you're looking at the lines, you are looking more at the constitution of that person, like we said at the beginning, how his nature, what elements are controlling his nature. But in Master Tung, we're looking at blood vessels and colors. Colors is a low channel. It's more something to do with pathology. So we're more looking about what's the basis of the pathology. And that's like the what we're looking for. And to find that, you could also find it with the pulse or with the tongue or with the abdomen. So it's not really important how you get to the diagnosis. It's more important that you have a diagnosis.
Yeah. So many ways lead to Rome. And I think that everyone here, and everybody's listening, have their different way to diagnose and use what you know and see how it goes, see the results. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting good results, probably your diagnostic tools are good, even if there are ones that we haven't mentioned here. But we will elaborate more on the VAS diagnostic tool, because I think that's something which I'm really curious and want to learn. So for my own egocentric needs and wishes. So I really would love to hear about that in the future. So Shaun, as usual, that was very interesting. And let's meet again soon, eh?
Yeah, Moshe, it's always so interesting talking to you.
You too, my friend. Take good care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.